Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Marvel's Runaways, Season 1, Episode 9. It is called Doomsday. Full spoilers for the episode, as per usual. This episode certainly feels like things are actually, okay, it's time to go, everything's going. It really feels like this is the next episode or a two-parter. It feels like the last two
It
episodes
does.
are a two-part
I'm almost
finale.
surprised they didn't kind of throw them out together.
Yeah, I mean, you get a big cliffhanger here, I suppose, that lets everyone chew on it for a
No, no,
week,
no, that's
so...
that's true.
So I guess it's that. And it got renewed today, so that's exciting.
Cool.
So that's fun. We start with a flashback, as we have done. In this case, it's Molly's parents, right at the night they die. We see some suspicious things, but we actually see that they're already kind of investigating what's going on. Like, what does Jonah want? What is the, what was the
Yeah,
dig even for? All that kind of stuff. And they find these weird rocks that are kind of like, I don't know.
glowing.
Well, they're glowing, but they're also moving. It's like
Yeah,
I don't want to say bubbling, but imagine like a sharp-edged version of bubbling, if that makes any sense.
I only makes sense if you've seen this.
Yes, yes.
If anyone's watching this and hasn't seen it for whatever reason, that will be complete nonsense to them.
Imagine you've got like a pile of rocks in your hand, and some of them just keep moving up and down, like bubbles would, but it's rock. But there's
Yeah,
every
shifting,
but every
pulsing.
pulsing. There you go. But every time it moves, you see like little bits of light coming through the edges.
Yeah,
That was a lot of
cool
describing.
effect. Yeah, for some rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, it's some rocks.
And I would maybe imply that maybe this is where Molly gets her powers from, because it doesn't seem like her parents. Well, I mean, for the fact that she's there when the explosion happens and she survives, and the parents,
Yeah, I assumed this was where the powers came
yeah.
from as well.
Uh, of course, we do get the big reveal that Leslie is the one directly responsible. Although Tina is kind of involved, although she seems taken aback by the news when when Leslie implies over the phone that
Yeah.
she's killed them. Tina kind of burns herself on the frying pan because she's kind of taken aback by it. She's shocked by the revelation. So I was still thinking Tina's going to end up being really sympathetic compared to most of the parents, just because they've played her as such the evil one.
Yeah, it's the obvious thing to do, isn't it, to swerve it?
Yeah, but no. But obviously we know Leslie's the most devoted to Jonah, so it
It's
kind
not
of
really
makes sense.
surprising, is
Yeah,
it?
it makes sense that she's the one to do this. But yeah, so we got those little times. There's another flashback later as well, actually. This is maybe one of the few times we've had this in the middle of an episode where a bit of dialogue will actually set up the flashback for someone, because
Yeah, it's rare.
it's
That's
rare.
happened.
It came at a nice moment, I thought, though, because it was Tina and Robert talking about maybe we can get past this now that we're finally at the project, and all this for 15 years has all been building
Yeah.
to this building project, which is just disguising the fact that Jonah wants to dig down into the earth for
Yes, yeah.
fancy rock or whatever he's doing. Still
Yes.
unclear as to the actual
Yeah,
motive per
he
se.
claims energy source, and maybe that's not necessarily a lie. Maybe these rocks are an energy source, but
Yeah, but he's not just going to let them all use it for that purpose.
no, exactly.
Especially since, of course, what Molly's parents find. Admittedly, we don't get this in the opening scene, we get this later on, but we get the whole revelation that there's a good chance this is going to cause earthquakes like all over the state, and that's presumably the future we saw in the future TV, was all the buildings falling down and everything. So lots of things going on. I liked that this one focused more on the kids. I think there's obviously there was a little couple of nitpicks we had last week. One was Nico charging the phone in Amy's room instead of just going to her own room. And what would you know? Sure enough, we get a scene where she goes to get the phone back, and it's like, oh no, the dad's staying in there because he's like, that he's back in the house, but he's not ready to be with
Yeah,
Tina quite
yeah.
yet. So Robert's staying in there, and it's this awkward little. Now it doesn't amount to much, admittedly, because she just has the phone later on, so she clearly snuck in again and got it at some point.
Yeah, yeah, it was weird in that sense. Like, okay, fine.
It was a little bit weird, but at the same time, I was like, oh, I'm glad they just did that off screen. I didn't need her.
Yeah, yeah, but it was weird that they
Yeah.
set it up as an obstacle, and then it's just like, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I mean, it's believable enough that she just waited till he was out the house, and
It is, yeah.
it's not that difficult to figure out how she did it. It's just yeah. But the whole thing could have been avoided, and she just charged it in her own room.
Which, just common sense. It's not asking for much, is it?
Look, she's dealing with the fact that her once thought suicidal sister is now most definitely been murdered. She's got a lot on her plate. She's having trouble processing everything.
No, I'm not willing to accept that bullshit. It's not good enough.
So they're all kind of mad at Chase. Nico's still mad at Alex, and there was some fun little moments with that where they're all kind of waiting at school. And this dance is, they're selling tickets, and they're talking about, oh, maybe the parents know this, maybe the parents know that. What are we going to do now? And just the thing where he's like, oh yeah, Nico's not even talking to me right now, and Nico just walks into the scene and goes, he speaks the truth, and just enters the scene. I thought it was a fun entrance, and then Molly, of course, shows up. Now, remember how last episode made us feel old because of the VHS? What the hell is this?
Yeah.
Alex going, oh, there's a VHS machine in the AV club. I'm like, it's a VCR. Call it a VCR.
Yeah. I was like, what is this? What is going on?
Oh my god.
VHS machine. I don't think I've ever heard it called that before.
Yeah, you could do it. Yeah, like instead of calling it a CD player, oh, there's a CD machine in the in the AV club. Like any of them work. I did like the little meta joke though, where he's like, oh yeah, I was in the AV club, and like everyone's like, hey, can we not just pill on this? It's my one thing. He's like, hey, that is literally the one thing they use in every single teen story to show who the losers are. I kind of like that. That was a nice little.
That was fun.
Poking at the genre tropes, if you will. So they watch the tape, and it's Molly's parents explaining that they've discovered this will cause the earthquakes, all the rest of it. It's a well done scene, and I kind of like that it shifts everything up. It's like, okay, some of them were kind of starting to not be into like turning them in. Maybe there's good reasons, and some of them were still very much wanting to turn them in, and they were pissed at Chase, very rightly. But as soon as it's like they see this, that it's like, oh no, wait, they might actually cause the apocalypse.
Yeah, I like there's still some defending going on. It's like, well, maybe they don't realise the extent of what they're into.
We actually know is true in this case.
Yeah, at least for some of them. We don't know all of them for sure.
Because we get that thing where they all show up to the building site and like, hey, you've told us about this renewable energy source, but some details that we've been spending 15 years of our lives doing would be nice. And just like, no, let's not waste time with that. Let's go do things. Very, very, your typical politician almost, just subverting the question,
dodging it.
Yeah. And yeah, so no, I liked all this, and they even actually bring up in the scene. They're like, "Hey, maybe we should just go." And like, one of them suggests a place to go. It's like, no, we have to stop them. So yeah, I think that's good because it's teasing the entire premise of the show, but I think it also them all deciding, no, we have to step in and do the right thing and stop them. It makes them more likable as heroes. So, I mean, it's the obvious thing to do. And obviously, there was the Runaways name.
Oh, I hated that. I hated it with a passion.
I don't know if in the comic they ever actually refer to themselves as a group like that, whereas, we have a name.
Oh, it was so cringy. I really hated that. That was probably my most hated moment of this episode.
That's fair. See if this happened after they ran away, and it was just, we ran away, we'll call ourselves the Runaways, I'd have been fine with it. But the way they got to it was so convoluted.
Oh yeah, we'll call ourselves the Runaways in memory of all the people who went. What is this bullshit you're giving me? This is you just wanted to have the moment of, oh yeah, we're giving ourselves a name. No, stop it.
See, like I say, after they actually run away, fine, because then it's obvious. We ran away with the Runaways.
I agree. And the problem is, this makes me go, are they actually going to run away? Like, it makes me worried that they're not going to run away because they've got the name now, so they don't need to run away to get the name.
No, it's the premise of the show. They have to run away.
You say it's the premise of the show. The whole season they haven't run away yet. So
well, no. That's the premise of the story in the first place, though. The show's made the choice to wait all season for them to do it.
It has, but I'm just
that doesn't change,
concerned.
That doesn't change the fact that that's the premise of the story.
It doesn't, but I'm concerned now.
Why are you concerned?
Maybe it's concerned for just because I feel like you say, they could have just given themselves this name after they run away, and it would have been easy. Because they jumped through hoops to get to this name, it makes me feel like maybe they're not going to do that. Just so this is okay, we need to get to the name, but we're not actually going to do the running away. So
they cannot not have them run away. If they don't have them run away, I will call absolute bullshit. But I think it's silly to speculate that because that is so insane if they don't.
It is insane, but that's what I'm worried about. I'm genuinely concerned.
No, they have to run away. Having the runaways and have them not run away is like no. No, what are you doing?
I agree.
Like no. They have to run away. If they did, I will call so much bullshit if they go through with that. But I'm not worried about it because it's so stupid they can't possibly be thinking of it.
Well, time will tell.
I question the decision to push it off as far as they have already, but it's a believable amount of fault. Whereas no, that is off the deep end. You are absolutely insane. To stop writing TV, you hacks.
Stop writing TV, you hacks.
Yes. No. Stop it. If that's the plan, if the plan is for them to never run away, then yeah, you hacks. Anyway, that's your fault for being so goddamn cynical. You're assuming the entire show is doomed based on one line of dialogue.
I'm not assuming it's doomed. It doesn't mean it's going to be an awful show. The show's still fun in the way it is. They've not run away.
I came in super positive to this episode. I think this is the best episode of the show so far, probably.
I agree, but I really hate this. This might be one of the scenes that annoyed me the most out of the entire show. So I'm just making.
And before we even get to all the best moments, you're like, oh, it's all doomed. They're not going to run away.
Look, I was going to bring this up later on because I thought we'd brush past this. So I was going to wait till after all the positive stuff. But while we're on it, I'm going to tell you,
I think it's a goofy, cringeworthy moment. I think that's it.
I hope so. Even that was bad enough as it was.
I will take a cringy moment over them ignoring the premise of the story 100 million times. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's true. So what else happened? Where were we?
I don't know anymore. There was a dance.
Yeah.
And
yes.
really nice moment because they're all bickering with each other. They're all not in the best place. And, you know, the bitchy girl who's into Chase is like, hey, I'm selling tickets. Yeah, screw you, Garrett. I'm not selling you the tickets. Or you, Alex, or whoever it was that was up. And she turned away.
Yeah.
And Chase is up and he's like, oh, I'm really sorry about your dad. Because they all heard about it. Because the Janet's been on TV being like, oh, he's got a tumour and he's off sick and he's getting treatment abroad and you won't see him publicly for a long time. And
Cover story 101.
And what I liked about that as well, actually, is that when he confronts her about it, she basically flat out implies that he's in danger if they don't go through with this. So even though later on in the episode all the parents find out they know everything, that's kind of like, well, that's so close anyway that there's something really shady. Like, you know, like,
oh yeah, definitely.
We're at the point where she's like, hey, I'm worried about you, not your father. I'm worried about you if this, you know, goes tits up.
Like, if he didn't think there was something weird going on, he would after that.
Yeah, they're threatening your kid. Yeah, okay, mother, you're into something shady, right? just pointing out.
Well, what mafia do you belong to?
But what I really liked about this, though, is that he kind of plays along with the girl being nice to him, and then she looks over, she's like, oh, I'll give you a free ticket, and she looks over at Karolina and says something really bitchy, like, oh, if you want to, like, start, you know, looking for someone better, or something like that. I can't remember the exact line. And Chase just turned, or Gert just, and what I love about this is that Gert, of course, has been into Chase, and she's been kind of a little bit ratty towards Karolina. She steps up and defends Karolina. She's like, no, we'll take 5, you bitch.
Yeah.
Or stuck up bitch, I think it might have been the word. But it was such a nice moment because she was defending the one person she's typically been the most against because of the love triangle shenanigans.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And
it was a nice way of saying, hey, maybe we'll be past that in this episode. And we actually are, for the most part. For the most part.
For this one, yeah.
Certainly for this love triangle, yes.
Yes.
I'd argue the other one's more interesting anyway, so I'm okay with that.
It's more interesting, but yeah.
But, yeah, so it was a really nice moment. It was a really nice moment where she stuck up for her. It was like, because just before this, they were like, oh, we should all be friends still, have a name, they were still in a bad place. But then it was like this moment of unity, like, look, even if that's not going to happen, we should stick together, go to the dance together, and then Molly shows up with the tape and sends us down the plot. And it's like, okay, we'll still go to the dance, but it's a cover. We'll say that before we're going to the parents, we'll get dressed up, but we're actually just coming to then sneak off and deal with this. And they all gear up, they bring their, you know, the fist of guns, they've got the powers, the raptors in the back, yeah. All the stuff, all there, and they've got the plan. Of course, before we get to the plan, though, we do have a little bit of action, pardon the phrase, at the dance itself.
Yes.
Because Chase goes in to try and find find anyone, and Gert goes in to find him. And they end up in a room, and I actually really liked this scene. I thought they had good chemistry, especially before as well, when they were talking. She was talking about how she was invisible, like, you know, the whole relationship, and he's like, oh, well, you know what, I was a dumb asshole, and this, like, you know, my life, like, yeah, I've lost this life, but it wasn't worth it, and as wacky as our lives have gotten, it's all real, like, you know, like, your friends are real, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, because the best thing about this show has definitely been the characters and their bond, so strengthening all that works for me. And then, so they have their kiss, and I thought, oh, this is a really sweet kiss. And I was like, oh, that makes perfect sense. We get the finale, have them have their moment. It is genuinely quite sweet. It is not the most conventional relationship in a TV show either, because it is the kind of nerdy SJW girl, and I use that phrase lovingly, but that's what she is. Because he even has that line with his mum before, where he is like, she has a lot of opinions about a lot of things, and I just kind of tune a lot of it out. But every so often, she says something that makes a lot of sense. I thought that was a really nice kind of like. Yeah, she speaks a lot about a lot of things, but I kind of like her anyway. It should be annoying, but I actually kind of like listening to it. It was a nice kind of like spin on it.
Yeah, definitely.
Where you like someone for their faults. And
more importantly, he says, he just tunes it out. It's fine.
But no, it was a real sweet kiss. I was not predicting them to start taking off their clothes and go for a quickie before the mission.
Why not?
That seemed
they might die.
That's the justification for it, because I felt like, okay, I was not, because when they started taking off their shirts, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, alright, okay, we're going further than I thought. I thought it was just the first kiss, but okay. We're going for full on the quickie in the little chapel.
Yeah.
And wherever the dance was, there was a little chapel. Okay. Now here's what I like about this next bit, right? You think that Nico and Karolina get in and they're going to catch them in the act. You think that's what's going to happen, but it subverts you, because they actually walk out finishing their sex and catch them having just kissed.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that subversion. No, admittedly, it's perfectly clear what they just did as well, because they're tucking in their shirt and their...
It was, yeah. So
and Gert's hair was like
they're both aware of each other.
It was like an explosion. But yeah, that was good. Do you know what I realised this episode, though? Is that Molly might be my favourite, and I was really glad to have her back with the group. And I think part of why she's my favourite is because she's a little bit younger. She's outside of all the love triangles and squares and pentagons and whatever else shape you want. And because of that, she's this sort of neutral wisecracker who'll just crack jokes about everything, regardless of who it is. I really like the moment where, because Nico's going to look for them, and Alex is like, oh, do you want company? And she's like, yeah, actually, Karolina, do you want to come? And it's just really kind of like, oh, that was a twist of the knife moment. And Molly from the backseat just goes, oh, someone's in the doghouse. He's like, yeah, I got it, thanks. And I was like, yeah Molly.
Those things are fun. Because I think some of these love shapes are somewhat interesting, but there's so much and so many. And I'm like, why? Why is all of this here? Like, pick one.
See, this is the thing. At least at this point, I felt like, okay, we're kind of wrapping up the Chase and Gert thing, and they have actually quite a lot of good chemistry, so I'm like, okay, yeah, have them be a couple, that's cool. And, okay, we're starting up another triangle because Karolina makes her move, which, again, they justify being because they think they're going to maybe die tonight, and that's why she does it. Because at first I thought, oh, this is a bit quick for her to make her move, but then I'm like, okay, nah, she thinks they're going to die, okay, I'll go with it. Interesting, of course, Nico doesn't back away immediately, she kind of goes into it a little bit.
Yeah.
She's into it. So, I was curious. So, no, I'm actually kind of interested in that. And again, that moment in itself was sweet. And then the funny moment of them into it, of sort of finding each other. My one kind of negative point of all this, though, is actually afterwards when Gert and Chase kind of have this weird, oh, it was just a one-time thing.
Yeah.
Oh, was it?
I thought, just when I thought, okay, we're done now. This is the new status quo. And it's like, oh no, okay, we've got to go through all this still.
Yeah, that was my one negative point, because I thought, oh no, the consummation was nice, it was sweet, it worked, that's fine, that's great. And then, I mean, I guess I kind of like the idea that she's assuming he'll feel that way, so she's kind of just predicting it and almost like sniping at herself. Like, there's a little bit of interesting character drama in there, but honestly, it's not worth
really by the numbers still, isn't it?
It's not worth the effort of this, because I'm going to give them credit. I think Chase has gotten a lot more interesting over this season. I think in the first episode he was by far the least interesting one.
He was boring jock 12.
Yeah, and I think he's actually one of the more interesting characters now.
Oh, definitely.
With everything he's went through.
Yeah. Which is why this is kind of frustrating. So I'm like, okay, we're doing. And in the same way that I like the stuff between Nico and Karolina, like I think that they're interesting together. But I'm like, we've got to go through all the stuff with Alex finding out.
Yeah, but but we have all this stuff with Nico deciding.
Yeah.
Like, is Nico bisexual? Is she gay? Is she straight?
Well, yeah, and that does she go? Does she go? Oh no, I was just doing this because to annoy him because I was annoyed at him. So is that how she does? Or does she try and justify it to herself that way at least?
Yeah, I like when you rephrased that, because I don't think she did it
No,
to annoy him.
no, I don't
Yeah.
think it's that. I mean, is that how she tries to go through it in her thought process? Is what I meant.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It could actually be an interesting little curve for the
Well,
for
that's the
the, for
thing.
the
I think it's
drama.
interesting for Nico, but for Alex, I'm just like, okay, I have to just sit through him. Get just the usual stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you're being a touch cynical here. I'm going to give them credit for now on this and see what
Okay.
they do with it. Just because it is different, I feel I feel it's rare that the love triangle is not the typical two straight relationships that you're used to.
No,
Like,
that's true.
because it usually is. And I feel like, especially since Nico might not be sure if she even swings that way, to
Yeah.
put it in a simple phrase. And how does if she does get rejected, how does Karolina feel about that? Like, how does that make her feel? Is
Well,
that
that's what I mean. Like, I think the stuff well, the way it affects those two is actually really interesting. But Alex is the one that is very much just standard love triangle here. He's like, well, will she choose me or won't she? Essentially, that's all he can do at this point.
oh sure, but I mean, I feel like they'll give him more to do next season.
Yeah.
I think the idea that he's the only one without a power or a dinosaur or gloves. He's the
Power
only.
dinosaur or gloves.
Yeah, he's the only one without a thing. He's not got a thing. He's kind of.
He's the hacker.
Well, see, that's the thing though. Like, honestly, like now we're gotten to this point in the season with this episode, it does kind of feel like a lot of the middle with the hacking and getting that footage, especially since it ended up going nowhere, is like, yeah, you could have just cut out like most of that probably, and it would have been fine. I think now that we're at the end game, even though we've not seen the last episode yet, I think you could very easily at least say episodes 4 through 8. You could probably like cut out 2 of those episodes and just condense it down into like 2 or 3.
Yeah, I think the point is they wanted this season to be okay. No, we'll have the assuming that they still do Runaway, they'll have the Runaway at the
They
end,
will.
and this season will grow the group together.
Yeah, which I mean,
But
it
it makes
wasn't
the
all bad
plot.
in those episodes. There was a lot of good character stuff in there.
Oh yeah, there's good character stuff, but it makes the plot in that chunk of the season kind of feel redundant and just like okay, that didn't really do anything other than bring the characters closer.
Yeah, I think it was almost this weird, this weird, not crutch. What's the word I'm looking for? They gave themselves their own hurdle by just sitting down at the start and saying they're not running away till the end of the season, and we're going to do that no matter what. And then they wrote the season, and they didn't necessarily go, oh wait, but this kind of means we have to drag out this middle chunk a bit.
Yeah, they didn't have enough
And
plot to do,
Yeah.
the amount of episodes that they had till they got to run away. It's like, well, okay, so we need a side plot to keep them for it, and it was fine while you're in it because you assume
Yeah.
it's going somewhere, and it's like, okay, no, this has purpose. But once you look back, it's like, well, it didn't really. I mean, ultimately, that plot accomplishes nothing.
Yeah, it accomplishes very little because they could have just gotten this video like 2 episodes ago, and we'd just go straight into this story then.
Literally, all you needed was the stuff with them seeing the ritual at the start, Molly kind of leaking to the parents that she knew, her being sent
Oh, I
away.
wouldn't go that far back. I think you're being a bit harsh with that.
No. I just mean in terms of the broad scopes to get to, like thinking of where we are at the end game, not counting the character stuff, in terms of just the pure plot.
Oh, right, okay. Because I just I think the first 3 you leave as is.
Yeah.
That first trilogy. That's why I'm saying like, episodes 4 through 8, the middle chunk.
Which is most of this chunk where I'm saying, because Molly, that stuff doesn't really happen till end of 3, start 4, around that time anyway, where she kind of gives away that they're on that she's onto them a bit, right? Still quite early.
I think it was a wee bit later than that. Maybe I misremember. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah. But that's what I mean. So you have that start stuff where they go the ritual, they have all the the coming together, what's all going on, and then once Molly lets the parents aware that they know, and they we'll send her away, and she can get the videotape. That's kind of what you need for the plot for the end of the season.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. You could just condense it down by a couple of episodes. Just make it an 8-episode season instead. Take away 2 of the middle episodes. Condense what was needed down. And
Yeah.
I think cut out some of the parent stuff. Some of it was good, and obviously all like the parent stuff last episode was quite useful. But there's some of the stuff throughout. Maybe cut out the affair. I don't know if we really needed it in the long run. Especially since Robert's just back with Tina now.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much it really accomplishes.
Yeah, again, I feel like I have a subplot to sort of have a plot for the middle of the season. And yeah, you could probably condense it that way. So, But hey, you have a knack, Connor, for turning this ultra negative, even though I want to be really positive about this episode.
I like this episode. I've agreed with you on most things.
I know, but that's twice now you've spun us down a really negative tangent.
That was not intentional. I don't even know how I started that one. I will take responsibility for the first one. That was on me.
No, I mentioned, obviously, I mentioned the condensing the middle bit. Yeah, you went real deep into it, and
Well, I just thought, we're getting to the end of the season. It's kind of it hadn't occurred to me just how irrelevant plot wise a lot of that section was. But then it kind of is.
yeah. Anyway, so they go to the site. Of course, through all this going on, Frank betrays them because Karolina thinks Frank's going to help.
Yeah.
And Frank sells them out. He sells his own daughter out. Well, it's not really his daughter. Maybe he knows that by now, I don't know. But he sells her out and the kids out to Jonah. And Jonah knows what's going on. The parents all find out. Jonah has them all gather. He tells them, yeah, they all know. They know everything. And they're like, okay, so they're not where you say they are. Where are they? Where are they going? And obviously they'll go home and they find all the stuff missing. And Jeffrey's like, oh, my key card's gone. So they know where they're going. And they go in. And they get in. And they all have their own job. We have Fistigons on the computer console. We have...
that made no sense to me either.
Garrett's plan to push the red button was a fine idea. I don't know why I didn't try that first.
Well, that's the thing, and I'm like, I just don't understand why destroying the console stops everything. Would it not just it just continues as it is then? I mean, sure, if it doesn't stop, I assume I won't stop it. It just carries on.
I don't think the goal was to stop it specifically from doing it. I think it was just to stop it from being usable.
Okay.
Because it wasn't on when they went in.
Right, but they wanted the emergency stop, right? That was the whole thing. That's why she was like, what's the emergency stop code? What's this big red button?
I don't know why, but I figured they were just destroying it so that it can be used in the morning.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you're overthinking it, to be honest.
Maybe. It just didn't make sense to me in the moment.
Yeah, and Molly, bless her, pushes a truck into this giant... It's a big giant hole, by the way. It's going down for miles.
Yeah.
As Alex puts it, it's a big ass hole.
It is.
And she pushes this truck into the hole, and then Nico gets her staff, and she's like, fill this hole. And it's basically like Storm from the X-Men. This storm starts to happen, all the dirt, and it's going to fill it with dirt. But then we get to jump to a different reference, we get the lightsaber pull from Star Wars, where Nico comes in and is like, my staff! And it flies out of her hand over to Tina. So, and the parents are there. And this was such a culminating moment. This is the moment I've been anticipating basically since episode 2 of this show, where Molly reveals her power, Karolina reveals her power, and then the parents go, oh shit, we actually can't just fight them. They actually can beat us in a fight.
Yeah.
Because obviously, he's got his fisted gun, Tracy's got fisted guns, but then Molly's like, yeah, come get us, and her eyes light up, and oh shit, what's going on?
Karolina glows. I'm not sure entirely what she does still.
I think she can do blasts. She's done blasts already.
Okay.
Remember when they stopped the guy?
You're right, but I'm just like, are they aware of that?
I don't think it matters if they're aware of it. They didn't know she could glow.
No, okay, that's true.
So what else goes along with that? Okay, there's more to her than we understood. She's not just a human being. That might be a threat.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
And mention actually that Jeffrey's cousin, who's throughout the episode. Actually, it's funny. I actually kind of liked him in this episode because he was kind of this. Because they didn't overdo it at all. He was just kind of watching the site, and he's like, he's been working to this for years. I need to know what's happening. Yeah. And he was just kind of, and it's when he sees the kids going, he's like, oh, let's just get interesting. They're because he's very clearly humbled almost by what they could do, because they just took care of him like he was nothing with their powers and whatnot. And he's like, okay, this is just getting interesting. So I think obviously we end with this standoff with the parents and the kids, and they're ready to go down. A big exciting moment. It was nice to see their reactions to everything. It was nice to see the kids refer to them themselves as a family. It's like, no, we're not on the same side as you anymore. We're drawing a battle line. Obviously, the way out of that is potentially that the parents don't know that all these earthquakes are going to happen and all that. So, it'll be interesting to see maybe where they go with that.
Yeah, once they tell them.
I can see like Stacey and Dale actually being on the kids' sides once they know about things.
Yeah,
And
Stacey, Dale, maybe some of the others.
Well, I don't know. I think Leslie will stick with Jonah no matter what.
I think Leslie has to. Well, unless she learns about Frank.
Well, maybe. Yeah, because Jonah might be selling out all the parents. He might be like picking Frank, saying that's just like all them, because he doesn't need them anymore potentially.
That's kind of the implication I got, because when the kids phone Frank, to get into the site.
Yeah.
And he's there with Jonah, and Jonah's like, all right, no, you're running the church now, like he's replacing Leslie.
Yeah.
So
I think which is maybe an interesting twist in like how does the running away work. I actually can see all the parents dying in the finale. I'm not gonna lie. I almost think Jonah might just do away with them all because he doesn't need them anymore, and then it's just about them running away from him.
No, it's possible.
I could see that because we can't go back home after that, can they? They'll find them there.
That'd be the first place you check.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, I am confused as to why he still needs Victor then. Like, if the plan's kind of done.
Yeah, clearly it's for tech. Clearly there's still something to do, but I think maybe everything else they were doing, I think, because you've got Tina, who clearly designed the big drill thing, the big fancy super drill.
Yeah.
You've got the land and the real estate side, which is Jeffrey. So you've got them. Stacey and Dale, obviously they were doing sciencey things for him. But again, that might all be done by now. I think Victor maybe just is needed because whatever he wants to use these rocks for, maybe, or whatever he's getting to that he's going to use, he needs Victor to, do something tech-wise with him. That'd be a guess. But that's it's kind of. So I could see them dying actually, which would make season 2 very interesting if we lose all the adult cast except from Victor. And I guess Frank, which is funny because we were
on the table to come in later.
Because we were guessing that Frank might be the one person to die in the finale, and now we're guessing, maybe it'll be the opposite.
Everyone but Frank.
Everyone but Frank will die.
Yeah.
I could see it going that way.
Yeah, me too.
I could also, I'm curious. I feel like the Wilders have to still stay with Jonah, otherwise there's too many of the parents on the kids' side.
Right. So I feel like we said Dale and Stacey.
Yeah.
I can see maybe Robert.
Yeah, maybe Robert.
I think not Tina. As much as we're saying, when maybe that she's the most sympathetic, I think she's too far in the same way that Leslie's too far in.
Well, here's my thing. I think if they all kind of realise what Jonah's doing and all rebel against it, I think they're all dead. I think that's where the show has to go if they all make that choice. And it makes some sense to an extent that most of them would feel that way. Leslie's maybe the one who would still not care. But everyone else, I feel like, has to in some capacity go, hey, I don't actually want to annihilate the state.
Yeah, we live here too.
Yeah. Especially like if Nico brings up, I know that Amy was killed, like in the text. Because obviously she debates it with Alex and like, hey, like who sent this? Who could it be? It can't be him because he's already in the phone. It could be calling from a different phone, admittedly, but so there's options.
Yeah, I mean, she just phoned Alex from Amy's phone.
Exactly, and it showed up as a private number.
No, it showed up as Amy.
Oh, that's right. It showed up as Amy. Yeah.
I was like, why didn't you use your own phone?
To make a dramatic point.
I mean, sure, but he would have answered anyway, I'm pretty sure.
Well, he would have, but I think it's a dramatic point. It's like he's like, is that a ghost? Is Amy alive?
Kind of a dick move.
It's me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he lied to her for months. Like, this is the thing. If she wasn't pissed at him after this, I'd be okay with this because this would be the little. This is getting him back just a little bit for all the lies.
Yeah, no.
But then she kept being.
That's one way of looking at it.
Then she kept being mad at him anyway, though. Like really mad at him.
Very, very mad. Yes.
Very mad at him. Yes. So it's a thing. But no, I think we're picking apart plot points and we're doing all this. I think ultimately though, this show lives and dies on its characters and how likable they are. And the simple truth is the characters were great in this episode, and that moment of them sticking up against their parents is actually really satisfying.
Yeah, it is definitely.
So. I can't fault it too much, and I'm glad it's got season 2. Also, the Raptor's still in the car, so Raptor's still in play.
Indeed. And yeah, I'm looking forward to season 2 in the same way. Like, okay, I've liked this season. It's been rough around the edges, but it's got, okay, we can sand those off for season 2 and kind of move forward and maybe improve.
Yeah, no, I hope any show improves in season 2. Really,
Yeah, I think most shows in general are a bit rougher in season 1, as as a rule of thumb.
like I say, I think they hampered themselves by saying they're not running away till the end of the season,
Yeah,
and well, some good character stuff came out of that. I had to drag it a little bit too long to get
feels
there.
a little bit meandering now that you look back.
Yeah, like I say, after episode 3 to just before this episode, arguably most of the last one made a fair bit of sense because of we were dealing with the parents mostly, so most of
Yeah.
that still kind of holds up. But all the plot with the getting the footage off the server and finding the camera and
Yeah, like it was fun sequences, the
yeah,
heist-like sequence of breaking in and the distraction, like fun stuff, but ultimately kind of meaningless.
yeah, you could actually remove it all and it wouldn't make that much of a difference.
Yeah,
So, yeah, that's the thing. But yeah, so that's episode 9 of Runaways. So, finale's next week. We're looking forward to it. We'll see how they wrap things up, and if the final shot's not the 6 of them in a line running like in silhouette away, I'll be disappointed.
well, not long to find out.
I can see the street in night, just the blue glow like from a distance. There's all 6 of them running against.
I don't think they'll be that stylistic. I think it'll be a
No.
sequence of them all leaving their homes, taking something like a couple of things from their homes, and then meeting up somewhere. And we're like, yeah, let's do this.
That's probably right, but I'm just
Yeah. Yours sounds cooler. Mine's more realistic.
they may do a bit of stylized stuff for the.
They might. I actually think it's funny. I think the first episode was really stylized, and it kind of drifted away from that a little bit as the show's gone on.
It did actually. You could kind of tell whoever directed that first one wasn't around for.
It's a very common thing. You have the guest director in for the first episode of a lot of TV shows to kind of impress.
Yeah, I think it's unfair to say that it's common that they always. I think it's actually 50-50 whether or not the show maintains the style that's set up in the pilot. And this is on Hulu, but it's a bit more networky, and I feel like it's network that tends to suffer from that. Where after the first episode, I remember Legends of Tomorrow doing that, where season 1 and 2 had a directional style, and then it just went away after that.
Yeah, definitely. There's, I mean, even things on Hulu in the past, 11/22/63, we kind of,
That's true.
it perked right up at the end again. But,
It came back for the finale. You could tell the good director came back for the last episode.
Yeah, but it was really noticeable, wasn't it? And here, I don't think it's been as noticeable. It's kind of just been, as I'm thinking about it now, I'm like, when we mentioned stylized stuff there, I'm like, that first episode had a lot of really stylized shots that I haven't really seen much of since.
I think it's because it was stylized at points, but a lot of the core scenes played out still pretty normal, so you don't really feel like you're missing them in the rest of the season.
No, I think you're right.
Yeah, like you'd have like stylized transitions, you'd have stylized moments. Like the intro with the runaway at the start of the first episode was really stylized, but we've not really had those scenes since then.
Yeah,
of that kind.
exactly.
So it's not really stuck out that much. All the stuff with the kids, together, still was kind of shot more or less the same way in the first episode.
Yeah.
So I think that's why you've not really noticed it as much.
That makes sense. It's not too bad. I'm not saying that it has no style at all, or it's got it's not interesting to watch. It's just it's noticeable difference.
Yeah. So I'll criticize the meandering a little bit to sort of stick to that. They're not doing it till the end of the season thing. I'll criticize that cheesy line of calling themselves the Runaways. But I do think you were a bit harsh.
I really hate that.
Just a couple of really cynical points where you think the entire concept of the show is going to be ignored.
I'm just concerned. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not saying they're going to ignore him. Just the thought crossed my mind. I'm like, what if? I'm a cynical person. You know this. You all know this by now.
I know you are, but I try to keep this. I thought we'd have quite an upbeat discussion, and I feel like half of this has been really.
Well, this is the weird thing. I think everything that actually in the episode that we talked about, I'm pretty positive about. It's just when we've been talking about, okay, here are some things over the course that, okay, no, that stuck out.
Yeah, I don't know. You were pretty down in relationship stuff as well.
Yeah, but I've been kind of down on that all season, haven't I?
Yeah, you're expecting the worst there. You don't like Fistigons.
It's a stupid name. I like the things themselves. I don't think it's stupid. And do you know what? I intentionally didn't mention that this episode. When you went, they got the Fistigons, I stayed silent. I wasn't going to bring it up, but here we are anyway.
Which, by the way, I love that Molly was itching to try them. She was going to eat his bag.
Yeah.
And Gar's like, no,
Fistigons.
Fistigons.
Exactly.
What about the X-ray goggles? Especially not the X-ray goggles.
Yes. Fun stuff.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed myself this episode. Yeah, one or two nitpicks aside, I thought the ending was really satisfying, and I'm looking forward to the finale. And I'm glad it's got a season 2. I'm looking forward to
Me too.
diving into that. So that is Runaways. Let us know what you thought of this one in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mailed_fudge for channel updates. If you want to support the show and the channel, head over to patreon.com/mailfudgetv. You can get a link to that in the description, as well as some other useful links. And otherwise, that is us. So thank you once again for watching. Keep watching TV, guys. Have you got any vanilla?